But
Hello,
San, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Well, so I guess we finally got Blackboard all figured out.
Finally, that was a nightmare.
Well, keep keep that number,
I will.
but I believe that most of the time they're probably going to direct you to creating an online ticket, and so
Yeah, that's
that's
what he did. He said I needed to actually contact Blackboard, which I had already contacted them. And I went back and looked at the email, and Blackboard suggested that I change the password. So I changed my password, and then I was able to get in that way.
I
But
don't
I've never been able to get in through the portal, campus portal.
really.
Mm-mm,
That's
mm-mm.
the
You know
only
that
way
link
I
they
can get
gave
in.
me? That's how I'm able to get in. So, but normally I don't wait to the day of. I was waiting on my tripod. I had ordered a tripod on Amazon so I could do my recording. And so that's the only reason why I was, because normally I have my stuff up and ready
Right.
early in the week. Yeah.
Yep.
And so, and that really got me. And I said, that's why I try to do my stuff early.
Well, I extended anyway.
Okay.
Um, so I think you're all finished. I
Hmm.
think most are finished with the week, but I went ahead and adjusted it yesterday and extended
Okay.
it out until Wednesday night,
Okay.
just
Okay.
because there was a whole day that Blackboard was down, and it was you should have gotten an email. I mean, the email went out to the entire campus community, but Blackboard from Blackboard the company, it was
Hmm.
their issue. It wasn't the university's issue,
Okay. It's
and so
black.
they were waiting
Okay.
on Blackboard. I don't know
So
if
we don't have any control over
was
that.
related to that. We have no control over that.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
understandable. Yeah.
let this be an example though that, like you've done, as long as we communicate, we can fix or
Yes.
work through, or
Yeah. That was my
there's a
first thing immediately when I couldn't, and I kept trying it. I was like, you know what? I need to let him know right
yes.
now.
Yeah, you let me
Before.
know. It may be a
Mhm.
couple of hours before I respond, but
Mm.
as long as I know, then
Yeah.
we can work on some kind of alternative plan
Yeah.
or, or something. Um,
Right.
it's keep it to yourself, and then I don't know anything, and then oh well, you just
I
didn't want to
didn't.
do anything this week, so
Right. Zero. Like,
um,
no.
I,
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
I do that.
Hey,
Um,
not with
I
me. I'm
uh,
gonna let you know.
I assign the grades that people earn. See,
I
and
understand.
I'm surprised at the end of the semester. Actually, I'm not surprised. I've been doing this for a minute, but at the end of the semester, I always have. This will be the first semester. I guarantee. I know it already. This will be the first semester that I don't have at least one person from each class asking me after they've taken the written final, uh, Chef, the class ends in 22 minutes. And what can I do to bring my grade up 5 letter grades? What can I do? Um, I usually tell you, I'll see you next semester. Work harder.
Mhm. Yeah.
Jill, how are you? You came in kind of mid conversation. We were talking about Blackboard problems people
Yeah,
have this week.
a
Did
little
Blackboard
stressed
problems?
today, but other than that, doing
Stress
fine.
today?
Oh,
What?
oh, yeah, just a lot work, and it was a Monday.
Okay, Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Monday.
It was a Monday. It was a Monday at work. Short-handed people and trying to get dinner done for everyone. But here I am.
Where do you work? What do you do?
So my husband and I have a State Farm agency. So we do insurance, financial planning, and yeah,
Well,
it's just really busy.
I'm a State Farm customer. I'm our house and our cars, and
All right.
I'm with State Farm, so
It's awesome.
very good. I've got 6:04. I don't know what time y'all have. I've got six,
That's what I have.
and we can be done in. Not that this is a rush or anything. I'm happy to take whatever time you want to take. But I told y'all last week that I would take a few minutes and do a little show and tell, and we would talk about some different knives, different kinds of knives,
Okay.
so that we can start thinking about, because this is so very important, using the right tool for the right job. I can't remember if someone asked last week, well, what about using this kind of knife or that? Or if I made an observation from something, picture from before. I don't remember the context, but here we are. I brought several knives, and let's just jump right in. So, look, if y'all don't have these yet, I don't know if your kits came with this, but you can get a set of these. They're just blade covers, and there's dozens and dozens of different types and different styles. This has a little felt lining on the inside, and it fits over your blade.
This,
Yeah, there you go.
mhm.
You're showing, did that come with it?
Yes, with all of them in the kit.
Great. They used to.
Oh, that's nice. Did you buy the one through the school?
I did.
Did you? Yeah, I should have bought that one, but
Yeah.
I bought one through Amazon. It's the Mercer, but yeah, that's a better. Mine came with this cheapy plastic ones, and sure enough, the first time I was putting it back on, I cut
Yeah, it comes
my
with the
finger.
plastic. It came with the plastic plus this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came with both.
Oh, see, that's nice. Yeah, this kit
So-
didn't. That is nice.
Jill, there is,
Uh-huh.
you'd have to look up the address, but there is Aimco, I think in Bryant, AIMCO, Benton or Bryant, or West Little Rock, somewhere in that
Okay.
part of town. There's also
That would be on
Krebs.
Colonel Glenn. That's on Colonel Glenn.
Aimco's on Colonel Glenn.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Okay.
Colonel Glenn. Yeah, that's on Colonel Glenn.
It's for home purchase, but it's a lot of restaurant supply type stuff. They have blade covers. Krebs Brothers, KREB apostrophe S, Krebs Brothers is
Isn't that in the mall, across from the
Sanders
mall?
Rose across from McCain Mall. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
I think it's just before Chuck E. Cheese or
It is.
after Chuck E. Cheese. I
I've
think,
not been there, but I've seen
Oh.
it. Yeah.
yeah, you
I've
can
seen
pull
it.
in the
I know
Chuck
what
E.
you're
Cheese
talking
restaurant
about.
Yeah, it's right beside Chuck E. Cheese.
with your chef coat on.
Mhm.
Krebs Brothers will give you a 10, I think it's 10, but a 10 or 15% discount on anything they have in the store
Oh, wow.
all the time.
Okay. That's
That's
good to
nice.
know.
Krebs, we do a lot with them, but anyway, not going to talk too much about just your standard everyday. We talked a lot about this last week. Your chef knife, whether it's an 8-inch chef knife or the culinary kits used to come with both an 8-inch or a 10-inch, and I would have you just use both until you figure out what you're most comfortable with. I don't care which one you use. Did I tell y'all about my sous chef when I was at UCA? Noe Gomez was his name. When he would tell me Mexico, and he would tell me sometimes, chef, my English, she is not so very good looking. And so I still use that all the time. He and I are about the same height, about the same size. We're both kind of small-ish as guys go, the average guy, a couple inches shorter. I have smaller hands. I prefer an 8-inch chef knife. His hands are about the size of mine as well, and he prefers a 12-inch chef knife. And I think that thing feels like Darth Vader's lightsaber or some kind of samurai sword or something like that. So it really, really is just a matter of preference. When you have found your preference, stick with that knife, especially through this summer, this class, this fall, when you take any of the classes through school, the next 2 years, you stick with that main chef knife that you are most comfortable with. And the reason for that is, as you use the knife that you're comfortable with, the more you use it, the more it will become just a natural extension of your hand. It will be reflex. You will automatically know just by the feel of the knife and the action of the knife while you cut. You'll know exactly on the blade where you're cutting. Are you cutting up here? Are you cutting in the middle? Are you cutting back here? That while you're using the knife without focusing on the knife and
Right.
what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
important.
This may be a really dumb question. I was kind of frustrated. This kit I got, it did not come with anything saying like what size. So how can I tell what size my chef knife is? I didn't know how to tell whether it was an 8 or a 10.
So of course it's hard to tell just in the camera. I'm guessing just by looking, you're holding an 8-inch chef knife.
I think that's what
Okay.
came in my kit, because it doesn't look really big.
Okay, yeah, I didn't
The
know.
culinary student kit from the bookstore, you got an 8-inch blade.
Okay.
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 Is that what yours
Yeah,
looks like,
so-
Jill?
You can measure it, but you're measuring
Yeah,
8-inch
yeah,
knife
pretty close, yeah.
is the measurement of the blade, just the blade, not the handle. So if you just get a tape measure, you can tell.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the number is,
See,
doesn't
here's-
matter. I don't know.
Right. I was wondering if this is a 10, then maybe I should try an 8 to see if an 8 would do better, but, okay.
Does it feel?
I
Does
didn't
it
know,
feel?
yeah, but you're saying measure the blade. It's the blade that determines.
Yeah, it's just the blade.
Okay.
Does it feel really big to you, Jill?
It doesn't,
That's what I was gonna
I'd
ask.
just be
Does it
curious to
feel like
feel the
it-
younger one. Yeah, the smaller one. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. Does it feel like it's big?
I would say no, but I'd be curious to just feel the difference between if this is a 10 between this and an 8. But it's not, I mean, I cut okay with it.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm gonna guess you got an 8, just by looking at
Okay.
it, but that's just a guess. You probably have in your knife roll. I'm going to show you 2 dudes that are about the same. This is a 3.5-inch paring knife.
Okay.
If you have the pastry kit, if you have the culinary kit,
Let me go get my-
both.
I'll be back.
Jennifer, was that correct? Did you have a pastry kit? It came with a paring knife, right? Okay, good. So listen, all the other knives I'm going to show you are knives that I have used in my career, but even teaching, in competition, in professional kitchens, in cooking classes and community education, in everything that I've done in my career. About 98% of everything has been these 2 knives. In a few weeks, it's just a few weeks left in the semester. We're at the halfway mark, right? I'm going to show you, of course, you can look ahead and you can see the videos already, but I'm going to show you how to break down a chicken with a paring knife. Chef McAfee in Meat and Seafood is going to show you how to break down a chicken with a chef knife. He's going to show you how to break stuff down with a scimitar, with a butchery knife. He's going to show you how to break things down with carving knives, with.
So this little knife for chicken.
This little knife for, well, what I'm going to teach you a way, a method, not
Okay.
the only method,
Okay.
not the method, but a method. Yes. But
Okay.
you have to get in and get your hands dirty, and you're going to break bones, and you're going to hear bones popping out of joint. And if you have a weak stomach and a really active gag reflex, you may not want to do, you're going to need to do this exercise, but you may not like it very much.
Oh, I've cut up a chicken before, so I think I'm good.
I'll cut up a cow with this. I'll cut up a deer with this. I'll cut up a pig with this.
I ain't done none of that.
I trim whole beef tenderloin and cut out my fillets, my Chateaubriand, take the silver skin off. I do all of that kind of fine work with the paring knife. So I make this point for a couple of reasons. I want to say two things right now. Number one, don't feel like, I strongly encourage you to avoid this feeling or notion that you have to go out and buy more knives, get different kinds of knives and these specialty knives. Okay. Because right now you're learning how to use this, and you're learning how to use this. And let's try to master these. Let's perfect these, because these are the two knives. This knife especially, this is the scalpel for the surgeon. This is the hammer to the carpenter. Okay, this is the workhorse, and this is a knife you need to get most familiar with. This is your second knife you're going to get familiar with later.
Hey, Chef.
Yes.
Outside of the brand that we use in our chef kits, I'm wanting to get an 8-inch, and I figured if I'm going to purchase something, I want it to be something I'm going to use long term and something nice. Any specific brands that you recommend?
So no, and I'm going to say this, maybe a little repeat of our very first time together. If you go back and review that video, the right kind of knife is a sharp knife.
Yeah, right.
So there are brands, the stuff you buy at Walmart, Farberware, Global, the Pioneer Lady or Pioneer Woman brand, or Ina Garten brand. Those are really poor quality steel. And all that means is every few cuts, you're dulling the knife faster. Poor quality is softer steel. So it'll go dull faster. So you're going to have to work harder to keep it sharp. It's not a bad knife as long as you keep it sharp. The Mercer knives that we're using are kind of middle of the road, a medium grade steel. It's an American made knife. It's from a French formula that actually was stolen from a German formula. But it's middle of the road. It's they're perfect for student knives. They're soft enough that they sharpen pretty easily, but they're hard enough steel that they're gonna hold their blade for a little while. And they're priced as such. It's kind of, moderately priced. You can go to Amazon and you can buy just an 8-inch chef knife, Mercer, on Amazon for about $30 to $40.
Okay. Thank you.
What I'm holding here, I really, really like myself. This is a Wüsthof Trident, classical, professional. Wüsthof is German knife. It's German steel. There's an American made, an American alternative, kind of like Bill Gates, who took some technology from Apple and broke away and created Microsoft. Interesting history if you ever want to look at that kind of history.
Is that WOOSTOFF?
WUSTHOF.
Thank you.
The American version of that, this guy, this is the American knife. This is the German knife. And I know you're just looking through a camera and poor lighting and all of that. The feel of these, I usually in an in-person class, I pass these two knives around, keeping the logos kind of hidden. And I ask you to feel them and, you know, cut something with them, hold them, feel the balance of them, and which one you think is better. And there's no such thing as that. But the American version is J.A. Hinkle. Hinkle kind of stole the formula from Wüsthof, came to the United States and started the J.A. Hinkle knife company. So anyway, these two are my preferred knives, Wüsthof and Hinkle.
Cool.
I just have one of each and I keep them both sharp and I have them both out in competition, for example. I don't have time to stop and sharpen if it's a event, and so I just have both. Like them both. They feel the same. Their weight is the same. Their balance is the same. Their handles are just slightly different. Hinkle has more of a sharper edge, and Wüsthof has a little more of a rounded edge, and that's it. That's not that big of a deal unless you have a knife in your hand and you're cutting hundreds of pounds of stuff at a time, or you're cutting for 10 or 12 hours. That kind of thing makes a difference. You may have, I'm going to show you two different bread knives. Okay. This is a Kuhn, Kuhn. It's the brand of the knife. You don't need to pull that up or anything, but there's a very distinct difference between this bread knife and this bread knife.
Ah,
What's the difference in the two?
the way they're shaped.
Uh-huh.
Why is that angle there?
This
Yeah,
angle here,
Yeah.
the same as what Sand's holding up. Yes, the same as what Jill's holding up. Yes. This is the preferred bread knife.
Really?
This is called offset. The handle is raised. It's higher than the blade. If I'm cutting bread, and this is my cutting board, if I'm cutting bread and I'm using this kind of a bread knife, when I'm cutting, my knuckles hit the cutting board before the edge of the knife does, right? So what I do is angle the knife down. It may just be the last quarter, eighth of an inch, but I have to press. I have to crush the bread instead of making a nice clean cut all the way through. This offset handle and blade allows me to work all the way down to the bottom of the bread and cut all the way through without my knuckles hitting the cutting board. Makes sense?
Okay.
It's preferred. It's more better.
Okay.
So this I might use for tomatoes or something like that instead. I don't actually use this. I've used it a couple of times, just reaching for something really quick, but I've used this more for show and tell, just so that we can see the difference in the two, and you can see, I hope, why this one I say is more better. Okay, here's a real, okay, so I have a utility knife, and until you go to meat and seafood, in this class, you're not going to use a utility knife. You're going to use chef knife or the paring knife or the bird's beak if you have it. If you don't have it, don't go out and buy this. Between you, me, and the fence post, even though this is recorded, I'll deny it if you tell anybody that I said this out loud. I hate this knife. The very last cut we learn in this class is a tournée, and this is a tournée knife. So we call it a bird's beak because that's the shape of it. The sharp of the blade is on the inside of that curve where my thumb is. And
This?
yes, that's a bird's beak. Okay. I hate it. When we tournée at the end of the semester, so San, you have one, this may just be for you. I'm going to ask you to tournée with both knives. And just like we talked about before, an 8-inch chef knife, a 10-inch chef knife, a 10-inch chef, 12-inch. I don't care. Use whatever you have until you have a preference. You may prefer doing a tournée with this knife. If you do, great, fine, wonderful. I do it with a paring knife. I'm going to teach you with both.
Okay.
If you don't have one, don't feel like you need to go run off and buy one. You don't need to order it. If you want to, fine. But so look at the difference between these two. And I'm not talking about the rivets in the handle. I'm talking about the blade itself.
Okay. It's got a curve. The one on the top kind of got a curve.
Up on the inside.
Yeah.
So the blade of this one on top is much more narrow. This is like a shortened, narrower version of your chef knife, right?
Yeah.
That, not the one that Sam's holding up, the one I'm holding up right here, I don't think you have one. This is a utility knife.
We don't have that.
Yeah, because you don't need a utility knife. I think it's a wasted, it's a waste of.
That's not it, is it? No.
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 Well, sort, yes. Yeah,
Is it?
what you're holding, Jill, what you just held up, yeah, that's your utility knife.
Is this my utility knife?
Hold the backside, the spine of the blade, and see how easy it bends. Does it bend real easy? Is it real flexible?
Not really.
What I think you're holding right there is a boning knife.
Okay.
Okay, so it is a little thicker than the knife I'm holding right here, which is real flexible. This is a fillet knife.
Yeah, I think
Huh?
I have the fillet knife. Now, what's the difference between fillet knife and boning, like purpose wise?
Exactly how they sound. So a fillet
Okay.
is very flexible, so that against the cutting board, you're going to apply a little bit of pressure right about at the tip. I'm going to hold on to the tail of a big side of salmon, and I'm going to run this knife down the fillet of salmon,
Okay.
removing the meat from the skin. or
Oh,
removing,
yeah, okay.
removing the whole fillet from the skeleton. You want to do that with a very sharp, it needs to be durable, but it needs to be real bendable and real flexible,
Yeah, I know.
mostly for seafood. Boning knife is going to be a little thicker, heavier steel, and it is intended to work around bones. So you're gonna debone a whole chicken or a whole turkey. There's a method to that. You can have your turkey, debone it. This is very common in Brazil. I lived in Brazil for a couple of years, and around holidays, so Christmas time, turkey, starting at the cavity, um, in a matter of about 4 minutes, a Brazilian grandma or a Brazilian mom will have the entire turkey skeleton removed from the whole turkey. And then the turkey gets stuffed with fruits and rice and more rice and other kinds of fruits, and it's stuffed a certain way in this leg and stuffed a different way down this leg, and there's sausage going into the legs, and there's a lot of rice, and there's going to be olives, and there's going to be raisins, and there's going to be, I know this sounds gross, but there's going to be quarters of boiled eggs all going inside the cavity of this turkey. It's all done and it goes in the oven. When it comes out, you still have this big turkey. The only bone that's there are the wings. And you wouldn't know it until you cut it open. And then they just slice the whole thing and put that on the plate. You've got turkey, you've got rice, you've got vegetables, you've got, and in the same way that we put in a lot of work for our holiday meals, that's their work for a holiday meal. And it's really a one dish wonder. You need a boning knife for that to work around all the bones and the nicks and stuff like that. Here's another interesting knife. Give me a guess. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Does that have something to do with cheese?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Cheese.
Yes, this is a cheese knife. Okay. The best cheese knives are scalloped. So there's.
Can you hold that up closer?
Okay, this is not a scalloped edge.
Oh, okay.
This side, this is not, but the purpose of those scallops, you know what I'm talking about? I'm not talking about a serrated blade. I'm talking about those little indentations on the sides. The purpose of those is to keep like air pockets appear on both sides of the knife. When I cut through, when I make a slice of cheese, one of the most annoying things to happen is the cheese sticks to your knife.
Right, yes.
The best cheese tastings are with cheese that's at room temperature. And depending on the type of cheese, if it's a semi-soft or a semi-hard cheese, once those oils are being released because of the temperature, tendency to stick to the side of the knife. Now you got to use your fingers, and not very that's not good. It's not very sanitary, especially in a catering in a public setting. So to have those scalloped edges on either side, you're going to cut through the cheese and it's going to peel it away from the knife and not stick. And I have two tines at the end of the knife to pierce the cheese and put it on my plate. I don't have to touch it. All done
I
with an.
always wondered why those were there.
Okay.
This is your cheese fork. It's your cheese knife and your cheese fork all at the same time.
Okay.
So if you were to get, if you get into catering, entertaining other people, there are kits of 4 to 6 different kinds of pieces, different kinds of cheese knives. If you do very many cheese tastings or cheese and wine pairings, you might want to look at one of those kinds of kits. And there'll be a couple of things kind of like this. They'll be smaller. There'll be a couple that'll be paddles, like to spread, because your cheese tasting, your cheese and wine pairing event needs to have an assortment, not just cheddar cheese. In fact, when you take garde manger and you do a really good, nice tasting, you're going to get a little taste overload, and you're going to experience, I think we do 12 or 13 different cheeses from all around the world. Cow's milk, goat's milk, sheep's milk, water buffalo milk. Hey, you just don't look at me, don't talk to me in that tone of appearance.
I don't make me no never mind. I ain't said a word.
It's delicious. One or two, I did last semester have one very close call of cheese taste and almost blow chunks in the class. Most of the time that doesn't happen. It really doesn't. Don't try to make you do anything you wouldn't want to do, but there's a variety of flavors, and I think that's part of what culinary school is all about anyway.
Yeah.
Listen, this was just a brief little walkthrough in different kinds of knives. You know, maybe one or two that you don't have in your kits, but I primarily wanted to focus on the ones that you'll use or be exposed to in culinary school. I don't think it's beneficial for us to have much of a conversation right now in all the other types of knives that exist in the world. We could never get through them all. And I'm not talking about Japanese throwing knives and ninja knives and, you know, stuff like that. But in my office, I have a Serbian knife, and it almost looks like a Santoku with a straight edge, but it's fat like a cleaver, but the top is rounded almost like a half moon. The one I have is handmade. It's heavy duty. I've got in my office at work, I've got 2 Chinese cleavers. And in Asian cuisine and Chinese cuisine, they use those cleavers in the same way that we use a chef knife. Almost everything is done with these big, heavy-duty cleavers. And when I was in China for the 2008 Olympics, one of the things that we would do in my kitchen was make ground beef or ground lamb. That's something that doesn't exist in mainland China. And so just imagine the sound as well. 2 big cleavers in your hand, prep table after prep table after prep table. We'd have 40 culinary students on wooden cutting boards, and it's like they're playing drums, just chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping, mincing the meat as fine as they can get it, so that we could have ground beef, or we could have ground sausage, ground pork, ground lamb. We had to do all that by hand. You're not going to be exposed to things like that. In garde manger, you're going to make sausage, but we use grinders and things like that. So what else you want to know about knives? Anything?
Well,
This, I think, this is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, Chef, it was funny, you know, I think it was last week that you told us to buy a big bag of potatoes or carrots and just chop. Well, my internship, I had to spend the entire day. It was, well, probably 6 hours chopping carrots and onions and celery. And
Oh, wow.
what I noticed was I was using it was the Meridian serrated it's probably the 10-inch that I have in my kit. And it was so uncomfortable after all that time. And so that's why I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get a nice knife because I know I'm going to use it, in my future career. And so, yeah, after that, it's like,
The knife makes a difference. More importantly, the sharp knife makes, and then your technique, your method, how you hold the knife, how you guide the knife, being relaxed from your shoulders down, but holding everything right. There's there's a learning theory. There's lots of learning theories out in the world. David Kolb in the early 1980s came up with something that applies very, very much to culinary school called experiential learning. And I'm actually writing about this right now in my dissertation. I can explain to you, I can describe to you, I can show you, you can watch the videos over and over again, but it's not really going to click. And it's not going to click the first time you do something. It's as you practice it over and over and over, you gain some personal experience, will become for yourself, aha. One of these days, it might be a year from now, things we're talking about right now, you'll get a little thought, oh, now I get it. This is what Chef Hall meant. This is what Chef Hall was talking about. Now I get it. You won't get everything right now. You won't. But in the world of experiential learning, it'll come as you develop this experience, literally experience it. Jill, you were asking about what one of your knives?
Oh, yeah, actually, any idea what this is? It just doesn't
Slicer.
like, okay, this is the other bread slicer
No,
or
well,
just,
it's just called a slicer. So
okay.
typically, you're going to use that with a fork, a two-tined carving fork. That's the knife you're going to use. You got one of those. San did not get one in the Mercer kit. Jennifer did not get one of those in the pastry student kit. You got it in the Amazon or the online.
Yeah, they had all
Mercer
kinds
kit.
of Mercer kits, so yeah.
But you'll use it. We have
Okay.
slicers at the culinary school when we do certain events in Food 3 and Food 4. You will do events, and one of you, you'll all hopefully get the experience at least once, but you'll run the carving station, and you'll be carving the prime rib. You'll be carving the whole ham, not a whole pig, but you'll have the whole,
Damn.
cured, smoked, roasted pork shoulder, and you're carving that to order in some kind of a big, nice buffet. That is exactly what that knife, Jill, what that knife is for. So, bonus to you that you have it. The other, you two, Jennifer and San, don't go run out and buy it. Don't go run. I think I might have said this before, but I'm going to repeat it for the good of recording. Repetition is a key to learning as well, right? Y'all don't go ordering Shun knives and fancy Japanese things and Russian knives and Chinese knives and all these fancy things that you hear chefs need to have, blah, blah, blah. Get off the Facebook if you're being inundated with, as a culinary enthusiast, you need to have a Tanaka knife. No, you don't. You don't. Get specialty knives after you have established a good, solid foundation. And I would suggest you don't really start doing that until after culinary school. You're putting some foundation stones down. All of culinary school will be a foundation that you'll build your entire career on. So two students last semester, and I'll leave them anonymous. You'll have classes with them in the future, I'm sure. I had two students in one class go out and get Shun knives because one of them did because Facebook. And that it's great, it's fine, buy whatever you want to buy, but I would encourage you against it. Use the tools that you have right now. Mercer is great. You've got a good quality product, and build your foundation. Get really familiar with that, and then you can go get other knives. Asian food, Asian knives are very thin. You have to take care of them in a different way than we're learning. And so you can end up wasting a lot of money by buying a tool and then caring for that tool in an inappropriate way for the tool.
Chef, was it you that told us that the Sam's, not Sam's Club, but Sam's, I think it's like an Asian market, was a good source for knives? Or am I dreaming that?
Maybe dreaming that. I've actually never been to the Asian market.
Okay. Well, that must have been then the executive chef at the Alotian, because I took a picture of his knife, and it's Kuaiben.
Okay.
Have you heard of that brand?
K-A-U.
Kuaiben.
Oh, Calvin?
Yeah.
I've never played with them.
Okay. Just wondered, he loves this one. And so I don't know how much it costs, but I was going to go look at it.
Like I said, I want you to focus on preference for a particular size of chef knife.
Okay.
That needs to be your preference that you figure out for right now, because you will get accustomed to that 8-inch knife. And after, months and months and years of repetition, you'll know if you're using the third, the middle third, the back 15%, you'll know just by feel where you're cutting on the knife without focusing visually on. So focus on that. Beyond that, there are hundreds of brands of knives. And what I like, you're going to work with people. What do they like? In the fall, you'll be attending classes in person with classmates. You've got some classmates. You have one classmate at the culinary school with 25 years of experience in the kitchen. He just never got a degree, and he can't advance any further where he works without a degree. So he's come to culinary school to get a degree. And he has preferences after 25 years in the industry. You're going to run into other people with other preferences. It is good to get other people's ideas. It's Jennifer, if your chef there would even let you handle it for a minute, ask him, hey, can I cut a potato or two with your knife? I just want to get the feel for it. I want to hold it in my hands. That is ideal for all of you. But again, I think we covered this the very first day. Don't expect to ask to use somebody's knife and then willingly give up their knife.
Well, and we talked about the rocking motion last week, and I saw that in your notes today. So when I really think their knife was dull, period. But as I was cutting the onions, especially large, I was having, trouble making it through. Like, do you use that rocking motion with when you're cutting anything?
No.
Okay.
So go back and review dicing an onion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't use exactly, here's the board. I don't use that motion,
Okay.
that cut. So let's talk about that for just a brief little minute. Okay, that's something that that all of you need to work on a little bit. You know, your chiffonades. Here's my cutting board. So your chiffonades were pressing down, pressing, and not. It's a gentle. It's a slight little. I'm not going to do it on my hand. You know, this is a razor sharp knife. Okay. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This just press, 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 press. And I don't know if you can hear this. I'm going to try to be real quiet. Do you hear the knife kind of tap against my hand? You see it in the, okay. I can do this against my hand with a razor sharp knife. I can do this all day long. But the moment I do this, the moment I move like this, or the moment I move like this, Zoom is over. My wife has taken me to the emergency room to get 872 stitches all up and down my hand and repair tendons and all that kind of stuff. Okay. That's how you need to think. This against the cutting board. Here's my cutting board. This against the cutting board. Chiffonade, chiffonade, chiffonade. Okay. Because the knife is sharp, the cut happens. But a few more passes with the knife, it starts to go dull. And then it won't be as effective. And you'll do this as you chiffonade your spinach or your basil, and you've made it through all of the top rolls except the bottom two pieces of the leaf. Now be honest, how many of you, you know, after you clicked end on your video to submit your chiffonade, you loosened up all the leaves and you had a few little leaves that were stuck together.
Yes, that happened to me on a couple of them, and that makes sense what you're saying. There were a couple that didn't cut all the way through at the end.
Because the cut is forward and down at the same time, and then back. This is what I mean by the rock. Can you see that? Can you see the difference between this and this?
Oh, yeah.
Here's one of your aha moments right there. This is going to be pretty important this week. I think you're cutting a lot of carrots.
Do we need to pick up food this week?
This week is picking up food for the next 2 weeks. And so listen, starting this week in week 5, you're going to pick up some, we'll call them additional ingredients that are waiting for you in the cart for you to go pick up at the culinary school. This week, for example, in course content, I think it's the very, very last file. It just says recipes. I think this week has one. You're going to do curry.
Yes, it does. Chicken curry.
If you there won't be chicken. The recipe, here's something you're going to have to get used to. Something you're going to have to get used to. This is, let's end class maybe on this little conversation. I give you recipes that come out of the textbook so that you can refer back to the textbook if you want to, but you're not picking up chicken, even though the recipe says chicken curry. Okay. I know, San, right? Let this sink in for a minute. Let this sink in. This is going to
Okay.
be a little bit of introduction to food too. Okay. The most important part of the recipe for me and my purposes in food production 1 and food production 2, unless I tell you there are 1 or 2 lessons in food production 2 that I will tell you, I want you to exactly follow the recipe. We do a little experiment, especially in the in-person class. We're going to have 12.5 people. I say, follow exactly the recipe, and there's going to be 12.5 different things. And so we have a little come to Jesus meeting about why are there so many different things when we all had the same recipe. We start talking about continuity. So listen, a recipe is a guide. Forget everything grandma taught you. Forget everything that your mama taught you. Temperature in a recipe is a guide. How long you cook something is a guide. Cook a steak on the grill, 4 minutes on this side and 4 minutes on that side. Well, if you got a 3-inch steak, it's still raw in the middle. That's great if you're going to serve it to Chef Hall. It's not great if you're going to serve it to somebody that wants it well done. Time is a guide. Okay. I want you to pay more attention to the directions. The directions of a recipe describe the cooking method, describe the how to make this dish. I don't care what specific ingredients you use. The reason we're doing curry this week is in part, if you've already opened up week 5, we start with your first knife skills test. You're going to submit 3 pictures and you're going to submit 3 videos. Okay. Y'all just keep doing what you were doing. The videos you submitted this past week, just do what you're doing. Okay. I don't want to discourage anybody, and I don't want to have to reteach or recreate recreate the wheel. Okay. I don't want anybody to feel bad. San, the way you submitted your videos was exactly perfect. Exactly what was asked for.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Jill and Jennifer, you submitted the videos and I could see them. And so that's exactly okay. That's exactly just fine. You're fine.
Well, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you after I submitted, I saw, oh wait, the whole YouTube thing. And so I read through the the process. And so I did upload I have a work YouTube account that I did upload, and you know how it takes forever. But I could never set them to private, and I could
That's
never.
why.
Okay. So yeah, I can't have those public. So what do I do?
So do what you did. That's
Okay.
fine. Do what you did is just fine.
Okay.
Can you elaborate maybe like, because I read and followed the instructions, so maybe, I mean, I want to do it right. So what, because I
You did just
the
fine.
HTML.
You did just fine.
Okay.
So Jill and Jennifer, for both of you, there's a document. It's in the resources folder.
Uh-huh.
It's also out separate, like right near the top of the whole course content, how to embed a YouTube video in a Blackboard assignment. And so, so Jill, you got yours as far as YouTube. Okay. I'll show you if y'all can stand by for just a minute. It'll be kind of goofy, but I'll show you here in just a minute. Okay. While we're on this, the only last thing, I think I left some comments for you, but for the good of everyone, proper uniform use, buttoned up all the way to the top. there's fashionable things. There's even guys, I've always done this, the top unbuttoned, it's just a little bit loose up here. Okay. There are some that I don't know, it's unbuttoned, but it's buttoned on the side here or buttoned
Yeah, I've seen that.
kind of just open. The culinary school requires, because the American Culinary Federation requires, and that's how the culinary school is accredited. We have to be up to the top. Out of school, out in the industry, you'll do whatever is appropriate at your workplace. Okay. I had to correct this for myself because the American Culinary Federation does not like this. The Gordon Ramsay look, the kind of, if I'm going to wear a suit and I'm going to have my tie all the way up, well, I want the top button unbuttoned and just loosen the tie a little bit. No, we can't do that. So I want to get you in the habit of this already. You're working at home. So I'm not requiring a hat, except for well, and I haven't for you guys for this class at all this summer. Know that when you're at the culinary school come this fall, your uniform is going to include your hat, and you three with long hair, it's going to have to be, restrained and put up. And, I don't know if there's going to be an evolution of things changing so that, Jennifer, the pastry side and the culinary side are going to be, they should be uniform, should be the same. But on the pastry side, it's kind of been okay that if you're wearing a ball cap, for example, you can have that kind of cutesy ponytail sticking outside of the hat.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You still got hair flopping around all over the place. It's going to end up in the food. So the rule is your hair
So it needs to be
has
like
to
in a
be
bun.
restrained and covered. If you put it up in a bun and up inside your hat, okay, fine. If you want, at the culinary school, all the classes provide hairnets. If you want to do the lunch lady hairnet look and then, put your hat or cap on top of that, y'all don't have to worry about that till the fall. But at least for now, I keep doing like this because I'm not a weatherman. And so, I see myself in the camera. And, I'm not Catholic either, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, Chef Chocolate was a stickler on uniforms. So if you didn't have it in a bun, like even if it's a braid, you have to have a hairnet on containing the braid, containing the ponytail. The only way you can avoid the hairnet is if you have it in a bun.
Okay, one other thing on the uniform piece. See the ring that I have on? I'm a happily married man. I've got 3 kids. I love my wife. And for 25 years, my wedding ring is in my wife's jewelry box. Even though in the industry, ServSafe, food service sanitation that you all have taken or are taking, if you are,
I'm taking it.
you will learn that the National Restaurant Association and so all the health departments allow, and I use the air quotes for this, they allow a non-gemmed, a non-studded single wedding band, plain wedding band. Okay.
Oh, I don't have that.
I have a wedding band that has 3 little, they're grains of sand, but they're 3 little diamonds in the wedding band. But I also think still in my first restaurant job, I got a little infection right up here, just day after day and week after week. Guys, we're not in the habit of take the ring off and set it on the little dish and wash your hands and do the dishes and then go put your ring back on. The first 3 or 4 years of my career, my ring never came off. And so I'm washing dishes, I'm breaking down chicken, I'm making prime rib, I've got beef gack and chicken gack and onion and lettuce and carrot and soap. And all that stuff started to irritate and it ate through some skin and I got a little infection. And I've had even my wedding ring, I've had it off ever since. So just make sure your rings are gone. And I forget who it was. Somebody messaged me about some fingernail polish. Jill had a little party.
It was me. Yeah,
Thanks
me.
for acknowledging that.
I took them all. I took
In the
them all.
future.
I was
And
good.
then-
I had to go and have it taken. I had to go and have it taken off.
Okay.
I did.
Do y'all have any other questions? I'll show you real quick what I mean by embedding a YouTube video. If you want to see it, San, please.
Yeah.
Monday, are we Zooming Monday, next Monday?
Oh, July, it's the observance of July 4th. People are observing it on Monday. We'll be out of town, but we.
Yeah, same. We're out of town.
No?
I mean,
Okay,
So, no. How about no?
okay.
But if you have questions or concerns or whatever, then by all means, absolutely. And I will intentionally, because of that, I'll try to be a little more descriptive of feedback that I give you, especially on your first knife skills test, but of your lab work that you'll submit this week as well. You've got some funky names that you're going to do: a paisan, a losange, an oblique.
When is our first knives test?
This week.
Okay. So yeah, so I want to try to get all that done by Thursday.
Great.
But
it's a lot of work. So
sorry.
Kids are
Um,
fine. Kids are just fine. You're a mom.
But I did want to try to get with you to fix my rocking motion because I still am struggling.
Okay.
I did work on it, but I'm still. So I'll email you.
Okay, good. Jill, you look like you were just about to say something.
Question on the, well, I was a little confused. When you're talking about the uniform, you can tell me if it was me, like mine doesn't button up like yours. I don't think it actually goes all the way. Was it my uniform you're talking about, not buttoned all the way?
Well, I'm not going to call anybody out on the carpet in the public setting, and
Oh, it's okay if it's me. I literally
Did
don't
you
think
get it?
mine.
Did you get it
I'm gonna
at
have
the
to go look at
school?
my.
yeah, look at your.
I did. I got it at the.
at the culinary school or at the
I
bookstore.
did. Yeah, I did. And then like they didn't even have, I want to make sure I'm wearing the ball cap because they only had that, or the skull cap. They said they don't even sell the fun white one that I really wanted anymore because they didn't have enough demand for it. So I'd like to find one of those.
They
So
don't-
The
is there a-
tall?
Yeah,
the
the torque,
taupe?
is it called?
At
Yeah,
the
that.
Tote. Yeah, they don't sell the fun white one, and
I think you have to wait till you're a chef to wear that one, right?
That's
kind
what
of,
I thought.
yeah, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
So your instructors, some of your instructors will wear those. Some of your instructors wear the ball cap. I don't have any hair because I hate hats, and the ACF and the health department are okay with that. So I don't wear a hat. But if you don't want to wear a hat, you are welcome to do to your head what I do to my head, and then you don't have to wear a hat at all. Sam, I keep telling you, don't look at me in that tone of voice. I mean,
I've had my hair cut that short before and it wasn't nice. It
It's
wasn't a
nice.
good look.
oh, when it's 108,
It was not a
12
good
degrees
look.
outside is nice. It's nice.
Hey, chef,
Yeah.
off topic, but I know you'll know this. I got a burn today on the oven and it does not feel good. Do you have, besides burn cream, any tips?
It's up the other way,
So
Jill. There's a button on the inside. There you go.
that's
There's
it.
a
Oh my
button on
gosh,
the
sorry,
inside.
thank you for interrupting. I had no clue it did that. I'm not sure I
Yes.
missed that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But there you
Yes.
go.
That's
There
great.
you go.
Can I say that how I had it was more comfortable, but I will be buttoned up from now on.
It's more comfortable. You have to survive this for 2 years of culinary school.
Yeah.
And then wherever you're working, whatever you want or whatever they let you do. And Jennifer, I'm so sorry, bearer of bad news, but there is no trick. There just isn't one. And I say, you know, the bearer of bad news because I'm sure this isn't the first time you've ever burned yourself. In this industry, it is not going to be the last time. And you're going to get a few things that hurt. You know, I think we went through this. You can faintly, barely see this this scar that I have. There's a bone spur. I hit the bone and started to carve a little of my bone out. Yeah, that kind of hurt. Duct tape's not a good idea. Super glue, that's not a good idea either. That stuff hurts, it stings, but it is what it is. I have a scar that I don't think you're going to be able to tell very well right up here. That was molten sugar. Hey, that hurts. It just hurts. Now, you can look up kitchen burns and look through some Google images and you'll see people that have scars all up and down their arms and stuff like that. One of these days, I'm going to add a little conversation to a class about that, because if you're doing that to your arms, you know, where you're burning yourself all the time, everywhere you turn around, you got a burn and 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 a cut and a cut. There's a problem. Something's wrong, and you probably need to change occupations and go get all the shopping carts out of the Walmart parking lot. And I didn't mean to sound the way that is.
Yeah.
Let me show you this here real quick. So I don't have anything prepared, but I think I can show you what's a what. So all right. You see, okay, you see I'm in a course content, right? So I'm going to come over here to a YouTube. As soon as this will open up, the computer's going to be a little. And so I'm keeping this open. So this is last week's Food 2 Zoom session. And we're going to open this up. Maybe. There we go.
In my opinion. So that was the first thing that I saw. I loved the sliced.
Okay. So look at this. We have this little share button, right? So I'm going to hit share. Now, your usual go-to is going to be this link, right? I want you to hit embed. When you hit embed, you're going to get all this code. So copy, just hit Control C or select all of it, right click and hit copy. And then come back to Blackboard. And so I'm going to come into the knife skills exam. Y'all don't laugh at that picture or anything, but I'm just trying to help you out with that. And here I'm going to upload my video. And I'm gonna, it should be right where you write the submission.
Mhm,
See that? And I'm gonna hit this HTML button.
mhm,
When I hit that HTML button, I'm gonna right click and paste,
mhm.
hit Control V and paste. There's all of that code from the YouTube video. When I hit update, you see it right there?
Mhm.
Yeah, I missed the update. Yeah.
Yeah, where was the update button?
See, I didn't see that one either.
Oh, HTML.
Right there. Right here at the bottom. Cancel and update.
Where?
Inside this box. Do you see this box? It says
Yeah, I see the box.
View, Work, Microsoft Edge. Here's all the code that I just loaded.
No, I'm not seeing.
You see where the cursor is?
Yeah, I just don't see the update.
I don't see the code or the update either.
You see my cursor?
Yeah,
And it says cancel?
no.
Do you see a gray box?
I see the box where there's like a half of a photo you can see, like from the video.
Oh, you know why? I'll tell you why. Because I think in here in Blackboard, when I share my screen, I pick one screen. And so the box, whenever I hit this HTML button, it's a pop-up. It's another box that comes up, and you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be in here. So it's a small gray box. It's
Okay.
just a gray box with a big white blank space in the middle, and you just paste this code.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. And from that box, from that gray box, you'll click at the bottom of that pop-up box is going to be cancel or update. And when you click update, it's going to attach that video here. Then you click submit. It's done.
Actually, Chef, on the bottom, I clicked OK and it did it, and then I clicked submit.
Okay, or update. Mine right now is going to say update because I've already put this in here. So
Oh, okay.
I've changed it, or I'm making a change to it.
Oh, so that's why you would say update. Yeah, but normally it'll say OK at the very bottom on the right-hand corner. You hit OK, and then you hit submit, and then you're done.
Here's the important thing. Jill, Jennifer, keep doing what you're doing, okay? Here's the important thing. What we can't do, which classes in the past have been doing, is uploading like from your desktop, upload raw video into Blackboard. Blackboard is limited in the amount of space that it will take. And this class is very heavy in loading graphics. Text doesn't take any space at all. But I'm having us work with graphic images and video images. And video especially are really large files. And we can get near the end of the semester and all of a sudden, you've run out of space to submit your coursework. And now we're all in trouble and trying to scramble. So Jennifer, Jill, both of you, what you've done is okay. It's acceptable. As long as I can get to it and I can see it, we're just fine. Sand, keep doing. That's right. By doing the method I've just shown you, okay, that keeps all of the data, that keeps the video in YouTube. Not
on Blackboard. Okay,
I prefer this. I like this method because I don't have to go out to YouTube or Dropbox or SharePoint or any other method. I don't have to go out somewhere else to get your video. I can play it from within Blackboard, but your video is stored in your channel,
okay,
something like that. Okay.
okay.
I'm happy with the three of you just rolling on with what you did this past week. It's perfect, fine. No confusion, no need to do anything different. Okay.
Okay.
As long as we're not loading raw video into Blackboard, and none of you did that,
Okay.
keep doing what you did. That's okay, fine.
Yeah, I think I just missed the update, so.
Did you just miss it? Well,
No, I mean, I read the instructions in the thing. For some reason, I don't know if that update, I think it has something to do with that update button, the way I did that. So yeah, I'll go through the instructions again.
either way, if you want
And
to,
I'll button
try
my
it this
code
way.
up all the way.
if you just send me that YouTube link like you did in text, that's fine. Jennifer, if you want to keep using like your own Dropbox, that's fine too. I did have a student, and they will remain anonymous. It was in a previous semester, who had let me just say, had a real need, had a privacy issue, and needed to ensure that there was no possible way. So using YouTube was a little iffy for this student, and so them using even graphic images, even picture, all went to a personal Dropbox that was shared with me for the duration of the semester, the class, and then it's gone. I just need to be able to get it, and I'm pretty tech savvy, and so following those directions specifically, I'm not real concerned about, so long as you're doing what you're doing right now, all three of you. That just keeps us from using Blackboard memory, UAPTC's memory, and if we do that and I can see the video at the same time, then accomplished. I'm all fine.
Okay.
What else? Anything else? Text,
Not that I can think of.
email me, message me. We will not enjoy the 4th and
Thank you.
day, and enjoy trips that you're taking. And don't forget, there's still work to do, because Sunday will turn off.
Right.
Keep me posted if you need to, about anything.
Oh, what day do we need to pick up our food?
So
Yeah.
we've kind of said try to pick up Tuesday, Wednesday, but they've been building the carts like the Thursday before. So I've just learned this. The carts are available. Well, now the culinary school's closed. Tomorrow, Wednesday,
Okay, good.
and that cart's probably going to stay there Thursday, Friday. I wouldn't count on anybody being at the culinary school on Friday.
Right. I'm gonna try to go
Definitely don't count
tomorrow.
on anybody. Monday, I think, is UAPTC holiday as well, come to think of it.
Yeah, I saw that on
Yes.
the website. It is. So I'm
It's
gonna
a
go, I'm
big-
off today and tomorrow, so I'm gonna go back tomorrow and pick up my.
Just FYI, it's a big camp week this week. I'm up there all week for cake camp. And today Jennifer wasn't there. So I'm not sure if she was just taking the day off after all the craziness, or but does it matter if she's there or not?
It doesn't matter if she's there. I think all of you have a little experience now. You kind of know what to look for, and where to get stuff for gathering supplies. And there should be one or two culinary practicum students that work with Jennifer, Chef Dancer, in Product ID.
Yeah, someone was down there. I
Yeah,
saw
because this
them.
would help me. Yeah.
Jill, have you been at the culinary school yet to pick up product?
No, sir, I wasn't able to do it last time. So I'll try to get there this week. I live closer to Hot Springs, so it's a little bit more difficult to get there just to pick up product. I just ended up getting what I needed last time.
Well, I certainly can't hog tie you and force you to go to the culinary school and pick up product. But y'all know, you don't get a refund for your lab fee, and
Right.
your lab fee doesn't. I get this question in Food One once or twice in a semester. You can't turn in receipts and get a reimbursement. You know, it's an act of Congress for an instructor to turn in receipts to try to get a reimbursement. It pretty doesn't. We don't even try. It doesn't happen. So I don't want you to, to be put out. Fortunately for Food One, the product that all you need are the things that you're being graded on. Beginning this week, there's bonus product. So we get to do a little bit of cooking throughout the semester without learning any cooking. I don't have a video on making curry. I don't give you a discussion on curry and curry powder. And, we don't have a discussion about this, but I want you to be able to cut all this product and then use it in something. If you want to use it in something else, if you don't want to use it at all. So let me remember, I think you're mincing garlic.
Mhm.
You might be dicing an onion, and I think you're doing a concasse or something
Chiffonade.
for the knife skills
There is
test.
another chiffonade. Yeah, it's dice, mince, and chiffonade.
Okay.
Spinach again. So onion, garlic, spinach.
And you'll use those in the curry along with maybe some of the carrot. You're going to bias cut a celery. Most of the other I think all the other cuts this week are, you're going to cut a rib of celery and you're going to cut a few carrots. So, whether you make curry or not, Jill, since you brought this up and where you live, if you have, some carrots in your fridge and you've got some celery in your fridge and you still have spinach from last week and all that, don't feel like you have to go to the culinary school and get product. However, your lab fees provides you with that product, and I don't want anyone to be put out. And so,
I appreciate it.
that's a cutie right there. We lost our dog in February.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, he was 11 years old. Rat terrier, diabetes, doggy diabetes.
We lost our 14-year-old lab during COVID, and it was so hard. Oh no.
Well, I don't want y'all to hate on me, but I was the one that I put our Mickey out of misery.
Oh.
Just leave it. That. So now that we in class on a bummer, anything else y'all want to know about anything?
No?
Just on our stuff, you provide feedback like from our videos. Is that in the grading, or how do you
Yeah.
get
So
that feedback?
you'll know when you log into Blackboard, on the top right-hand corner, right next to your name, there's a little red box. If you see a little red box with a number next to it, That's that's your notifications, just like on your phone.
Mhm.
You've got some messages in there. You can open up that and read each notification. Or when you go into your grade book, you look at your grades, at least in my class, your key terms, unless you give me a blank one or I really, really, really don't like a definition that you've left, I might give you a corrected definition.
Mhm.
But something like your key terms, I usually don't give you any feedback. You know, if you've done them, it's a 30 out of 30, bing, bong, bang. I generally give you some kind of feedback most of the time on your lab work. Sometime I don't. The ones I ask for a picture of, you know, your cuts and your uniform, that's like a 10 out of 10 or a 15 out of 15.
Mhm.
If you're in uniform, you got your cuts, that's easy 10 points or an easy 15 points. I don't give you really any feedback. It's more your actual lab work, your production, your productivity. This week, we're at a point now where it would be wise to go back whenever you see that there's a grade, when you see that they've been graded, go back and look at what I tell you about your oblique. Okay. I'm
For
able
sure.
to, with about 95% certainty, I'm able to give you some very helpful hints and some tips about how to hold your knife to execute the cut a little bit better or a little bit cleaner. I can generally tell what you're doing from the results that you give me. And so I'm going to give you that information. Where I leave the grade, I have a comment box. And so I'm going to give you a 20 out of 25, and I'm going to tell you why it's not 25. And generally, with your cuts, if I give you a 10 out of 10 or a 20 out of 20, I usually at least say something like, you know, right on, good job. Hey, that's perfect. And for all the 4.0ers that are here, remember, a 23 out of 25 is still going to be an A, and it doesn't hurt your 4.0 and all of that. Okay. To get 100%, to get a perfect score, you got to cut as good as me, and that's not saying a whole lot, and that's not true. I think I told you this on the very first week. I am judging, if you will. I'm evaluating you against you. You've held a knife in your hand at this level with these expectations for 4 weeks in your life. And this week, week 5, you're now starting to tackle some very specific cuts, 45-degree angles, holding your knife, crossing your toes, and holding your breath just right so you get the cut. I'm being a little bit facetious, but you're being exposed to names and cuts that you have never seen or heard before. And I certainly take that into account. And so a, a 25 out of 25 or a 20 out of 20, you've got to be doing very clean, consistent, deliberate work. You have got to make, in the case of the cuts that we're making this week, your goal should be every single cut, every oblique looks exactly like every other oblique. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Every losange needs to look exactly like every other losange. I'm going to be pushing you the rest of the semester. It's going to sound like my expectation of you is to cut like a machine. Well, my expectation of you is to cut by hand like a machine. If you're going to give me chopped stuff, random miscellaneous size and shaped pieces, then you are worth a $10 prep cook at Chili's. If you give me a 1/16 of an inch perfect cube, every single fine brunoise you give me is a 1/16 of an inch fine, small, little teeny cube, then you're worth $45,000 a year as a prep cook at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. Do you see the difference? I want you to end up culinary school worth, in Arkansas, I want you to leave culinary school worth $30,000, $40,000. Not 12, 13 bucks an hour. Does that make sense? So I push you, hopefully without you feeling pushed. Like, I'm not trying to be pushy, but I'll give you as specific feedback as possible. Now, you may be taking every once in a while this opportunity to, make an appointment with me in the evening or the middle of the day for a little one-on-one cutting of whatever I have around the house and whatever you have around the house as we work on technique and method. We'll all get there. I've kept y'all, holy cow. So we've done this week and next week already, all tonight. Y'all want to
Well, I love the feedback, Chef. I really appreciate it. So keep it
Yeah,
coming.
me too.
Yep.
All right.
me too.
Hey, y'all go have dinner and love on your babies and your dogs and your spouses and whatever. Have a very good night and let me know if you've got questions or issues or problems.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good week
Have a good
Thanks, Chef.
4th, everybody.
too.
Bye. You too.
Okay, bye.